I was her downstairs neighbor. The police think I am an old woman who saw nothing. I want you to know what I saw, and her name. There is no missing woman. There is only the story of one. She came home at 11:14 on the night of the 14th, carrying a suitcase that caught on the third stair. She left the next morning at 6:50 with nothing in her hands. The police came on the 16th. A young officer. Tired, polite, in a hurry. He asked if I had seen anything unusual. I said I had not. He asked if I had heard anything on the night of the 14th. I said I sleep poorly and hear everything, and I had heard her come home around 11. He did not ask me what she had been carrying. I did not tell him. He asked if I had ever seen anyone strange near the building. I said this is a city. People are always near buildings. He thanked me and left. He was at my door for 9 minutes. I have been at my window for 9 days. I am 74 years old. I taught English in a public high school for 40 years. I have spent my life teaching teenagers to notice what people choose to leave on a desk. I am very good at noticing things. I am very bad at deciding when to mention them. There were 4 other people who saw her later than I did, and 4 other people who saw her sooner. None of them saw her come home that night. I am the only person who did. I have lived in apartment 3B for 31 years. Helen and David moved into 4B in 2018. I will use her name now. I have not used it in 11 days, because I was not sure who I would be telling. Her name was Helen Marlowe. She was 36. She was an art consultant. She wore a dark wool coat all winter and into the spring and even on warm days. She kept her hair in a low bun on the days she was tired. She had been tired for the last 6 months. She moved like a woman who had moved before. On Monday the 11th, around 8:30 in the evening, I was at my kitchen window watering the geraniums. There was a man in a parked car across the street. A brown sedan. He was inside the car for at least an hour. He was looking up at the 4th floor. On Tuesday the 12th, the same car. The same man. 7:45 in the evening. 40 minutes. On Wednesday the 13th, I was at my door collecting mail when Helen came up the stoop at 6:50 in the evening. I said, Mrs. Marlowe, there has been a man in a car watching the building for 2 evenings. I thought you should know. She did not look surprised. She said, I know. Thank you, Mrs. Doyle. She continued upstairs. I closed my door. I did not see the man again. On Thursday the 14th, I did not see her all day. The lights in 4B were on briefly at 4 in the afternoon and then off again. I assumed she was at her gallery. At 11:14 that night I heard the front door. I heard her careful footsteps up the stairs. I heard a suitcase. I have lived in this building for 31 years. I know the difference between a grocery bag and a briefcase and a small rolling suitcase. I do not get this wrong. The wheels caught at the 3rd stair. She lifted the suitcase. The wheels did not catch again. She did not stop on my landing. She went up to 4B. The lights came on. The lights stayed on until 2 in the morning. I know because I checked from my window twice. The next morning I was at my kitchen window with my coffee at 6:48. I saw her leave the building at 6:50. She was wearing the dark wool coat. She was carrying nothing. She walked east, toward the avenue. She did not look back at the building. I have been at my window every night since. The lights in 4B have been on every night until 4 in the morning. David has not had the police back. He has not had visitors except her sister twice. He has not, as far as I can hear, cried. I have been wondering whether he is grieving or waiting. I think he is waiting. I have been carrying that thought for 9 days. I have not told the police. I have not told anyone. The young officer asked me the wrong questions. I am sitting here at my kitchen table with you because you are the first person who asked me one of the right ones. You did not ask me where she went. You asked me if I had seen her on the day she disappeared. I saw her. I'm telling you now. And here is the part one have not told anyone. I taught 2,473 students over 40 years. I taught them to notice the difference between a poem about loss and a poem about leaving. I taught them that paying attention is the first form of love. In 40 years of paying attention to other people's children, I never once interfered with what I knew. I told myself it was not my place. I told myself the families would resent it. I told myself my job was the classroom, not the kitchen table. I have been telling myself the same thing for 31 years in this building. I noticed. I never interfered. You don't have to believe me, but I am beginning to understand that it was not my place is a sentence I have used to make my watching feel like wisdom instead of cowardice. I saw a man in a car. I told her once. I did not tell her husband. I did not call the police. I did not knock on her door on the morning of the 15th, when she left the building with nothing in her hands. I watched her leave. That is also a kind of love. I am not sure it is the kind she needed. I think she chose to leave. I think she knew she was being watched and she had been preparing. I think the suitcase that came up the stairs on the 14th was the suitcase she had packed years before, in case. I think the man in the brown sedan was the reason she could not stay. I think the man upstairs knew. I think he is waiting because she told him to wait. I think I have spent 31 years watching her live a life that ended every night at the door I was not supposed to knock on. There is one instruction I want to give you. You will not be able to act on it, but I want it on the record. If you want to know what actually happened to Helen Marlowe, and I think you will, by the end of this, ring the doorbell of apartment 4B. Wait for him to open the door. Tell him you spoke with Mrs. Doyle on the 3rd floor. Tell him I sent you. Tell him I have been at my window. Tell him I know. He will pour you a glass of water. He will sit down. He will tell you what nobody else can. He is waiting. I have told you what actually happened in those 11 days. I told the police less than that. I told myself, for 31 years, Less than that. There is one more sentence I want to give you. It is the only thing I am certain of. I was not her downstairs neighbor.